Well, hi, my name is Lloyd Tosser, and this is the 31st of August. I'm at the Midwest Skydiving Reunion. So we had a lot of fun jumping with the Godfrogs, and then a guy named Nick Lucas, who's not with us now, said that he thought maybe it'd be a good idea if I got a team together down there in Mooresville. And well, at that point, amazing jumpers down there. They're heavy style and accuracy jumpers. Lots of jumps. You know, they had the abilities and the discipline to do this. And so we put a team together called the Sphincter Brothers. and I can't take credit for the name. There'll be a guy that'll be in here later who can tell you how the Sphincter Brothers name came about. But you know, this was a team where we had really good jumpers, and everybody was at that point trying to put stars together. And I mean, you know, we weren't wearing French paraboots anymore, and we had frap hats, and we're wearing tennis shoes, and it was just a whole different thing. And so we did the Sphincter Brothers. Well, in '75. The beginning of '75, you know, at that time, you know, you had Wings of Orange, and I mean, a lot of teams, a lot of really good teams. I mean, we were coming into an era where there were a lot of great 10-man teams across the country. But out in the West, the one thing I couldn't, you know, everybody was wanting to have quicker times, obviously, and so how do you have quicker times? And the innovations went to gear. You know, we went from the belly warts, you know, the Style Masters got rid of those, to the big giant piggybacks, you know, which weighed 500 pounds, and you know, then we had the flat top, pop top reserve, and then John Sherman came out with the SST. The Beach Nuts were jumping the SST. And they were the first team to ever jump square canopies. They had the SST, and they were amazing, and I thought cutting edge. But still, there was one thing that all the teams were doing that I felt would be a way to quicken the time, and it was, no matter how close you could get in the exit, I mean, you could only get so close. And your exit could only be so explosive. And of course, you're going through small doors, big door beaches, and then the DC-3, which was like a gigantic door to us back then. But that separation, that exit, when you hit the door, it created a separation between the jumpers. And that's where the time really was. The time was in that separation between the first person, the exit, and the last person that broke the grips. And so I had an idea about making the star in the plane and taking the star out as a group of people. The idea being, you know, that the more you had already connected as you went out, the less you'd have to fly into that formation faster times. So we had a team meeting with the Sphincter Brothers, July of '75, and I threw the idea out them. And that's one thing about the Sphincter Brothers: they would do anything at any time. You know, I mean, they were always in the game, and we decided we were going to develop this idea. I don't know if it was happening anywhere else in the country. It wasn't happening here in the Midwest, and I know it wasn't happening in the West Coast. That's for sure. And so our motto was "Don't let go." That was our slogan, "Don't let go." And we took these exits out, and we called them funnel of deaths. I mean, we'd have everybody, if you just did not let go. If you did, you were in trouble when you hit the ground. And I mean, I remember seeing, you know, feet in my face, rip cords flapping around, people were getting their fingernails ripped off. I mean, all this stuff. Well, while that was going on, you know, when we would leave in this, like, I don't know, we just called it a glob back then, but it was us. I could look up and I could see the Beach Nuts. They're looking out of the plane, watching us. And so, you know, Nick Lucas and John Sherman, oh my goodness, the Beach Nuts had, you know, such talented jumpers, and they were all on the edge. I mean, they were creative thinkers, and they were the ones I liked to listen to the most, to hear their ideas, especially John Sherman. My goodness. I was his shadow. A lot of times they didn't even know I was there. But what happened was the Sphincter brothers started developing to where we got pretty good taking a three. The glob turned into a three, maybe a four-man, and the beach nuts came to an end, and Exodus started, and Nick Lucas got in touch with me and invited me to come, and this was '76, to be a to jump with Exodus as you know, first reserve. You know, so I was leaving 11th with Exodus, and I got it. I took that opportunity. And I do regret, you know, leaving the Sphincters to do this, but I wanted to have a chance to see this idea with guys that had, you know, so many more jumps and so much more ability, and that's what Exodus was doing, and they really, so I got a chance to see that. Well, you know, and I think that pretty much changed when Exodus started throwing those out, and where they could take a six-man out, and it would rotate and be sitting there. I would leave 11th, and that star was flat and stable and so close to the plane that all I did was throw my body up for just a second at the most and catch some prop blast and come back in a sitting position, and I'd be right at that star. And so we were turning really, really fast stars, and that, you know, that was as I was coming toward the end of my time in the sport. I left the sport after the Exodus days and decided I wanted to travel around the country. I jumped with them in '76, and that's when I really learned so much about the sport.